Who should pursue, CGMA? Anyone or somebody from the core finance role, or what should be the criteria?
Say this qualification is good for anyone who want to build their career in finance or business roles, right? Extremely important, right? For people like cost accountants, the MBAs, or the finance managers, right? And the way AI is shaping the whole the industry, it's very important for us to understand, like where do we see ourselves from here on, right? All that will be taken care by AI or machine learning, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this exclusive podcast series of the Wall Street School, where we invite industry leaders, finance leaders especially, who are shaping future of the industry. So today I'm very excited. Basically, we have with us industry leader, very experienced person, and sort of inspiration for many professionals in the industry, Mr. Ashish, and he has vast experience in the finance domain. He is a fellow member of CIMA and CGMA, basically, and currently he's a senior director at FIS. So a warm welcome to Ashish.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this podcast.
Pleasure.
So Ashish, before we start, why don't you give a quick intro about you, for the audience, right? So your experience about the corporate experience and the academic side also.
Yeah. Well, I've been working for last 24 years now, right? Currently, I'm working with FIS Global, right? I'm a senior director there. I'm taking care of financial planning, analysis, deal pricing, negotiations, and all that stuff that we typically do in the GCC world, right? So been in this industry for some time now. I'm a qualified management accountant, and I'm also a cost accountant, right? I've also done my master's in financial management. Before working with Fidelity, I've worked with the big banks like Citibank and Bank of America. I worked with GE.
Which year?
So I'll start like GE. I started way back in 2001. I joined as part of their equity team. I was managing the private side of the portfolio, wherein we would invest a lot of time in doing equity valuations, derivative valuations, and warrants and all, right? So spend good 5
technical
years.
wala, right?
Huh?
Option pricing model and
Option
all.
pricing
You were
models,
into
and
that.
right? Yeah, Black-Scholes.
Black
if you,
Scholes, yes.
good old Black-Scholes, right? So that is where I started, my journey. And then I briefly worked with a company called Cold Technologies. This company is into telecom solutions, right? So would typically provide solutions across Europe, right? I was part of the FP&A team, did the transitions, right, and managed the finance operations out of the GCC center in Gurgaon. From there, moved to Bank of America, wherein I was responsible for managing the mortgage analytics team, right, and then some portion of my time also was spent on doing the supply chain analytics there, right. That's how it has been over the years, right. What else would you like to know?
Boy,
Right,
vast experience, like
Yeah.
superb journey, Ashish. So Ashish, with your experience, right, and you have been leaders for years, right? So I want to know, like, how CGMA, stands out today, especially for the mid-level career professionals, right? How they stand, this qualification stand out today.
Well, to be honest, it's beyond a qualification or a degree, right? I would really say CGMA would typically give you it's a global platform. It will give you a global recognition and of the abilities that you have to basically give a strong business perspective or performance, right. It helps you drive that, right. And especially for the people who are in in their mid careers, right, 30 to 40s is that is where it becomes very important to understand the strategic side, right. So this degree really provides that, right. It helps you gain the strategic insights. It helps you with looking at the leadership depth, right? As well as a global recognition as
So
well.
when there is a stagnation in your career
Yeah.
and you're looking for the next level growth.
Yeah, absolutely important, right? People, normally, we would spend a lot of years in doing what we've been doing, right? And suddenly we start feeling that, our careers are stuck, right? That is where the problem begins, right? So this education not only provides you, a global outlook, but also, teaches you, or gives you life scenarios, like
Case studies.
case studies and all, right? Wherein you would do or deal with boardroom problems, typically, right?
Practical applications.
Practical
basically.
applications, right? So it's a great qualification, right?
So, but yeah, I understand, like somebody who is at a mid-career level, right? So either you are a student, you can pursue this as a degree, and somebody who's at a mid-career level, looking for the next level growth, definitely this degree is good for them. But who should pursue, CGMA? Anyone, or somebody from the core finance role, or what should be the criteria?
See, I would say, this qualification is good for, anyone who want to build, their career in finance or, business roles, right? Uh, Extremely important, right? For people like cost accountants, the MBAs, or, the finance managers, right? Wherein, you would typically get a lot of exposure of the industry, right? But you basically get stuck, right, at certain point of time, you're doing the number crunching and all that, right? I mean, see, industries are evolving,
Yeah.
right, big time, right? And the way AI is shaping the whole, the industry, it's very important for us to understand, like, where do we see ourselves from here on, right? AI will take care of, a lot of stuff which, people are doing right now, right?
Yeah, so stereotype, like
Yeah. Anything
I'll
which
say
is routine,
monotonous or
mundane, right?
process-oriented things.
Process oriented, which is straightforward, right?
Yeah.
All that will be taken care by AI or machine learning, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself, right? Where's the strategic growth, right, that you see, or so this basically, this education provides you that, right? So it's extremely important to understand how the industry is shaping up, right? And then put yourself in that, in the driver's position, and see, you are responsible for your own career, right? Right. So that's where education like this comes in very handy, wherein you'll understand, what's happening globally, right? And then people also start recognizing you globally as well.
But any non-finance professionals, they can also do this?
Oh yes, why not? Yes, business side people, right?
Oh,
See,
yeah.
anyone who's looking for a lateral growth or global growth, right? People. So this education basically provides you both, right? It helps you, do understand, how to do the stakeholder management, right? Which is very important these days, right? It also helps you, define a story, right? It's not about just number crunching, right? You basically have to tell the story, how the story basically helps in taking the decisions, right?
Exactly.
Right. So, and and how it fits in the overall strategy of the company, right? That is where a lot of people miss out. So the cases that we study in this, and the exposure that you would
You
typically
get,
get
yeah.
in this education is extremely good on both sides, not just finance but also on the business side as well.
But Ashish, see, in my evaluation classes, right, I used to get candidates, in the age bracket of 30 to 40 years also, and some of them are above 40 also. Usually they have some sort of fear in terms of going back to the studies, right?
Yeah.
कि सर अभी हो नहीं पाएगा, मतलब some of them are very talented, and something stopping their growth because they don't have some sort of degree or that recognized degree with them, right? So I suggest them go for some good degree. I suggest them CIMA, but they always have that fear, sir, studies. And so I want to ask you, because you have done this and you being in the industry for so many years, how rigorous this study, this CIMA is, and is it possible for someone to manage with a job?
It is possible, right? I did myself, right? So I'm a live example, right? So that's what I keep telling my my team members as well, people I meet, and wherever I feel like someone who deserves to be at the next level, right? This is something that I keep telling people, right? It is very important, right? So see, it's you don't have to go to the college, right, to do this, right? Most of the stuff is digitally available right now, right? So you can have classes as you want, right? It is absolutely designed for the working professionals, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah. We keep classes.
so
Say we also,
yeah,
keep classes over the weekend only. But
right. So
the thing is, like, how much study hours they need to devote, even if it's a self-paced, self-study course. So how much of hours of study is sufficient?
I would say typically during the week, if you can figure out hour or 2 hour every day, absolute concentration, right, and then good 4 to 5 hours, over the weekend, then yes, I think it should be good enough, right?
Good enough.
The good part is like it is this course is very practical, right? You would see real life examples, right? The entire the course structure is like that, you can actually apply what you study. It's not just you have to just cram it and then you just go and give the exam there. You would see a lot of practical application of whatever you learn, right? So it becomes very easy and adaptable, right, in that
Exactly.
way.
One more question, Ashish, though partially you have answered this, right?
Yeah.
So many candidates, they say, okay, I'm already into finance role, right? I'm doing finance job only. So why should I invest money and time doing another degree, or CIMA especially? Why should I go for this degree, right? If they are already doing those finance kind of job.
See, it's not just a qualification, right? To be honest, it is beyond qualification to me, because, like I said, like the case studies that you would typically go through, you would typically see the real life boardroom, problems getting solved there,
Yeah.
right? Each module of this, you study, you would typically get into those environment, right? Which is not easy for anyone, right? To get that kind of exposure, right, in a normal job, right? So it really helps, right? So just don't see that this as just as a learning. It's more like how you apply that learning on the floor itself, right? That is where it is important, right? So it's beyond a normal qualification is what I would say, right?
Understood. Let me get one direct question to you, right? Uh, what would be impact on their salaries if they do this course? Like, that's very direct question, right? And second, impact on their job mobility, right? So somebody looking for the transition. The third, in terms of global opportunities, right? If somebody looking forward, maybe moving out of India, maybe career in UK or some other countries.
Yeah.
So
See, the good part about this qualification, it is globally recognized, right? Normally, in all the Commonwealth countries, they recognize this degree, right? Even in the US as well, right? People acknowledge this, and I think we've got partnership with CPA as well, AICPA as well, right? So I mean, like, it's a true recognition of the degree itself, right? So anyone who's looking to gain a international qualification, it is one of the best qualifications that you would get, right? Truly recognized in the entire finance world, right? People who've qualified, I've seen them growing substantially. Good 30-40% increase, right?
Wow.
Would typically get in a couple of years, right? Moments. See, it's about how you start applying your education to the practical, scenarios is very important, right? So I have personally felt, right, and I've seen
Mm-hmm.
people who've done the degree getting a lot of good traction with the management leadership roles, right? Because they basically bring a very different skill set, right, to the table, right? Once you have that, once you understand how to solve a problem, right, they'll put you in a problem, and then you have a global outlook, right? How it impacts all aspects, right? How do you take care of your stakeholders and all that, right? So
Right.
it basically brings a lot of practicality, right? So it's a great,
Practicality
yeah.
in your approach.
Yes.
Yeah, great. And Ashish, because you have seen professional growing, right, with
Yeah.
your growth. So any real story you want to share with our audience, like real someone who have made visible impact in their career with this degree, CIMA?
Well, I've I've myself done that, right? So I know, like, I'm a
Yeah,
I'm a living
your story we
example,
know,
right?
like you have
Yeah,
done
so
exceptionally, but
I've
someone.
worked I've worked with the couple of great people in my, who've been, who've done this qualification, part of a manufacturing industry, right? Uh, I've seen them growing from a regional FP&A roles to global, leadership roles, right? So great, great recognition across the industry, right? Not just because it's you gain a qualification, it's because what you gain with that, right? There's a lot of learning which comes with it, right? Because it's not a easy qualification, right? Let me put it very very straight. No qualification is easy, right? For
Right.
that matter, right? You have to really put a lot of
Yes,
effort,
yes. If
right?
it's easy, then there is no value in the
Yeah,
market,
it's no
right?
value at all, right? So, but the value it brings, once you qualify is amazing, right? It's immense, right? Because you get a global recognition, right? So I've seen people who've done this, myself, right? And then, my colleagues, people, a lot of people that I interacted while I was doing this course, right? So I've seen their careers moving quite fast after after they completed it, right? So
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
Okay, and because we at the Wall Street School, if you see, our courses, most of the courses like financial modeling, valuation, in all courses,
Yeah.
we believe in practicality.
Yeah.
We believe less on the theory side. We understand. We think like this. If you know the application part, you can do wonder, right?
Correct.
So how this course is practical, right? One is, okay, you study for 3 hours, 4 hours a day, or maybe 10 hours a week, right? And you clear this qualification. But what about practicality? How practical this course is?
It's absolutely practical, right? Like I said, and I'm like, I probably sound like a broken record here, right? But it is based on case studies, right? The entire thing, right? Uh, you know, it will put you in different scenarios. That it will, make you think like a global leader. It's not like, a financial professional, right? But you would think like a CEO, right? Someone who owns it, right? Who controls it, so it basically brings that aspect, right? So it is what, you would typically, from a controllership, from a ownership point of view, the mindset that you need, right, is something that, this qualification, really throws you in those situations, and then you have to come out, right, thinking like a true CEO, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so Ashish, one quick rapid fire round. Ready?
Okay, all right.
All right. So, biggest myth about CGMA.
Well, it's only for the accountants, right? It's beyond accounting is what I will say.
One skill CIMA teaches, but highly underrated.
I would say the integrated thinking, right? How you basically integrate everything, right? The stakeholder management, how the different aspects of the business is looked into.
One word to describe CGMA.
My exceptional qualification, right?
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Brilliant, Ashish. So I think we had great conversation today. It was great insight about the CMA, what you shared, especially when it comes from the industry leaders, it's totally different, right? So we read lots of stuff about CMA, on Google, and, I have seen their website also. It's pretty impressive, right? But first time, I'm having interaction with the industry leader who are talking about the industry and practicality of this qualification. Thank you so much. I'm sure my audience who are watching this podcast, they're going to get lots of benefit out of this. They will be able to decide about their future career journey, especially for the people who are into mid-career level, right?
Yeah.
Those who feel stuck in their career. Okay, I have seen many people, because I give lots of valuation classes.
Yeah.
And age bracket is people from the 20 to 45 50 years bracket, right? So I see many people pretty talented, right? But they feel stuck in terms of growth. So I think they should definitely pursue this degree.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, people should not see this as a qualification, just as a qualification. It's an investment, right? So just invest in yourself, right? That's how, I did it. That's how I have seen people doing it, right? It's transformational, right?
Exactly.
It will absolutely transform you. to a different leader altogether, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. So if you are planning to do CMA and CIMA, sorry, and especially FLP route, so and if you want the best start, please join us as a Wall Street School. We provide the best guidance to you guys, and more description you can check in the link below. Thank you so much.